What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of History Hyenas. I am Distefano, a.k.a. Chrissy Coachella. With me, as always, Yannis Pappas, a.k.a. Yanni Yogurts.
Yes, I'm Yanni Yogurts. I'm Yanni. Again, we're going to tell you about the history of music festivals. And of course, it all started with the Greeks. And so just know that you got to pay homage to the original people, the Hellenics.
The Hellenics, a lot of you
We gave you everything.
Everything. A lot of you people probably think that music festivals started very recently, and you're wrong. Okay, we got a banger of an episode for you today, and we're going to tell you where music festivals started, where they've went, where they're going, and what's all going to happen. And we are coming to you live from the History News studio, which is about 3,500 miles away from where Coachella currently is, and that's a good thing, not a bad thing.
You don't want to be anywhere near it. I don't want to be anywhere near it.
It ain't for me, babe.
It ain't for me. I didn't know really what it was.
Okay,
that's
what do you
how
mean?
I know I'm getting old. Where I've just been hearing Coachella every year, and I thought it was like a woman's fashion brand.
Yeah, well, the thing is, the good news for me is that my he's a 47-year-old man, and he's currently at Coachella, so it's a good thing he was let go. Because if I had to give he's at Coachella right now, I wouldn't be a happy camper right now.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty happy right now because I've let that go. What I've learned through therapy is just to sometimes you got to let things go. You have to unburden yourself.
You got to unburden yourself.
He's at Coachella and you're 50, I have to unburden that. That's what it is. He's a good friend, but I had to let it go. Just can't have it. We're living different lives, pal.
Yeah, it's just there's you got a life. It's at Coachella, and you got a life where you're just on Zillow.
Yeah, cause here's the thing. I have burdens at home.
Yeah,
and most of them originated in San Juan. So, and that's why Coachella's not going to work for me. I'm happy for the people who are there right now.
Yeah,
who enjoy it, and I'm very excited to talk through the history of this all. But it is not for me. Now, I want to say something before we get into the history of music festivals and Coachella. You're going to learn everything you need to know about music festivals, where they came from, and Coachella. But I do want to just quickly, very, very quickly say that Yannis and I are now doing a new bit over at patreon.com/historyhyenas.
We're doing skits.
It's a new skit at patreon.com/historyhyenas. It's called Snowstorm. And what we've done is we're doing a podcast from under the covers because Yannis would play a game with his daughter where to help curb her anxiety, she would be worried about the snow and storms. We'd hide under the covers and then we'd check to see if there's a snowstorm. So what we've done is we talked about anxiety. If you have any anxiety issues, if you have anything that's bothering you, what you need to do is go to patreon.com/historyhyenas, submit your anxiety claim, and we will discuss your problem under the covers.
Under the covers, where you're always safe because there's a snowstorm outside, but when you go under the covers, you're safe from the snowstorm. The only thing you're not safe from under the covers is a fart.
Right. That's what it is.
So when me and Chris, we just did our first episode of Snowstorm.
Yep.
And
we Dutch ovened a little bit.
And that's the thing. It's sort of Russian roulette. Am I going to Dutch oven him or is he going to Dutch oven me? And I won.
Yeah, and I want to differentiate this snowstorm. This is a snowstorm about anxiety, a show about anxiety. This is not what we said black people call gentrification. That's another kind of snowstorm. When black people see loads of white people coming to the neighborhood, they call it a snowstorm. They say, we about to get a snowstorm.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Also, we got our first Loud of 14 audio podcast is coming.
That's up there.
Those will be monthly. You're going to be hearing from Sean Terry and Patrick Mulrooney up there.
Audio only.
Audio only because they just do audio podcasts. And, of course, your weekly bonus episodes. And you get the main episode a day early, uncackled. It's just, you just don't be a fucking rat.
That's what it is.
Yeah, just listen to it and enjoy it and don't be a fucking rat.
Right, yeah.
Because our fans will get mad at you if you're a fucking rat.
Right.
What the content on Patreon is for Patreon only.
Yes, it's what it is.
It's for matriarchy. No men allowed.
No.
It's a women's community.
Yes. Yeah. Now, here's the thing. When do you think, Yanni, close your eyes, when do you think, if you had to take a guess, USC, when was the first ever music festival held?
The first music festival
When do you think?
I'm going to go with before Jesus.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, a long time before Jesus. We're going all the way back to 2600 BC.
Yeah.
2600 BCE. And it was actually called the Festival of the Drunkenness, and it was in ancient Egypt. And that was the actual name.
They did it before the Greeks?
They did it before the Greeks, the ancient Egyptians, because here's the thing.
So I apologize.
Yeah, the thing
to my Nubian queens.
Yeah, because that's the thing is sometimes, even though the Greeks are very, very good, one thing they can't stop, and most people can't stop, is a little thing we call a sandstorm.
Yeah.
And the ancient Egyptians came with a sandstorm of ideas.
Yeah.
And they're able to just figure things out, and they just kind of, this festival of drunkenness was kind of like Coachella, but if the wristbands were made out of papyrus.
Yeah, actually, the Coachella now looks a lot like the Egyptian festival used to look, because they kind of wear wild outfits, no? Or am I confusing that with Burning Man?
You're confusing things with Burning Man.
Yeah.
You're confusing things with Burning Man, and in the beginning of the episode, you did say we're going to talk about Coachella again, and this is the first time we're talking about it. So Yannis Sundowns is back, and hello, how are you?
Yeah, how you doing?
Yeah.
Hello, Sundown, my old friend.
Yes, Yanni is Drew Barrymore from 51st Dates. He just always forgets. He forgot we had a 4-year fight, and he just brought the show back.
You know what it is about Lady Gaga? Now that she's
got a fat ass.
She's got a fat ass, and also she seems very approachable because she just looks like a girl named Janine.
Yeah.
Who went to Midwood from Brooklyn.
Yeah.
She does not look like a celebrity. If you just saw her in a fucking bodega,
right,
you'd be, how you doing? You just go, how
right,
you doing, Marie? How come you don't call me no more?
Yeah,
Lady doesn't look like a celebrity. She looks like an Italian girl from Long Island.
Lady Gaga looks like an Italian girl. Lady Gaga looks like a high school teacher from Hop Hog that just had a secret relationship with a 17-year-old, but she did it 20 years ago before texts were around.
That's right.
So she's safe.
Yeah.
But she did bang out a few 17-year-old kids on the football team, but nobody's going to know because she's in her 50s now, and there's no proof anymore.
Yeah.
These girls, these young teachers, keep getting caught up because of the texts.
And they're always hot. They're always fucking smoke shows.
Absolute smoke shows, and there's a new one now, a new 30-year-old teacher from Chicago who's an absolute piece who banged out a 16-year-old kid. And let's just be honest. I understand that there's two ways to go about this, but let's just be honest. It's the same story over and over and over again. The 16-year-old boy never really cares. He just gets caught by his mom because his mom logs into the father's computer trying to catch the dad cheating, but instead she sees the text between her son and the hot teacher, and she looks in the mirror and she says, you know what? I'm a fat pig, so now I'm going to the police. It's just, am I right?
No, you're not right. You know, it's always a mom who's got a short haircut with neck fat, who's just sitting there and she's upset because her husband doesn't want to bang her anymore. Just stop cock blocking your son from getting a little fucking educational puss.
Yeah.
What is more motivating, and who is a better teacher than someone who's willing to give the goddamn student pussy if he does good in his test?
Yeah, and I gotta be honest with you.
Because that's what motivates you. That teacher is actually preparing him for the world. Because listen, if there wasn't pussy at the end of the fucking rainbow, we wouldn't be doing what we're doing anyway.
And I gotta be honest with you, at this music festival in 2600 BCE in ancient Egypt, the very first one, there were definitely 40-year-old women. It's just what it was. And there were also 40. It's S-O-K-S.
Yeah, they're just.
It's not okay.
It's not okay. There was no rules back then, and you really couldn't get arrested or in trouble for doing the things that you get in trouble and arrested for today.
Yeah.
Because when you were in Egypt, they just had bigger problems.
They had bigger problems.
They had like, okay, when are the other civilizations going to come kill us? Or have we sacrificed a virgin to the Pharaoh god to make sure that we have the right harvest? They were thinking about harvests and things like that.
Yeah.
But guess what? Now we're creeping back into that mindset because we're worrying about our harvest. It's just right now our harvest is factories in China.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we don't have to worry about the Nile River drying up. We got to worry about the.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got work.
Yeah, we got.
Just cackle that.
The problem is with this little tariff war. We got going on right now is China has now threatened to stop making medical equipment that we desperately need.
Yeah.
So if that happens, we're gonna have to just do a little thing we call a backup. We're gonna have to back off the tariffs a little bit, and we're gonna have to kind of suck that Chinese dong.
Yeah.
Because we need to. My father's not gonna be able to live if they're not making his medical equipment in China. If those Eastern Hemis stop making compression socks, my dad's gonna die. And I know those puppies are made in China.
Yeah, look, we joke around and everything anything like that, but just we're not going to be able to keep ourselves healthy fully with oregano pills. It's just not going to cut it. We need the medical equipment from China. So yeah, I mean, that's our Nile River right now.
Yeah.
We don't have to worry about fucking dust bowls and droughts. We got to worry about tariffs.
Now, here's the thing, cuz.
Now, can you put her name back up there just for 1 second before you continue?
Who?
Because I had no idea that what her real name was, and she actually is just a fucking full-blown sauce monkey from New York City.
Read out Lady Gaga's real name.
I'm going to do it as an Italian.
Yeah.
Okay, because Lady Gaga's actual name, and I used to go with her. I actually went with her at Midwood High School in the 90s.
Yeah.
And I used to go with her.
Yeah.
And her name, and her friends used to say she was a slut who belonged in the sewer.
Right.
Because her name was Stephanie Joanne Angelina Germanata.
Stephanie Joanne Angelina Germanata, and she's a girl from Brooklyn.
Yeah, if that name doesn't come with a peppercini, I don't know what does it.
Yeah.
I mean, because when she was born, you think the doctors put a pepperoni on the side of the fucking bed?
I think those were 2 nipples, a little pepperoni nipples. I mean, because she's a sauce monkey, big.
Bad.
Now, we're talking about her because she is the current headliner of the first weekend of Coachella, Ella. She's a goddess, and she's awesome. And do you know that Lady Gaga was doing open mics in the Lower East Side when I was doing open mics for comedy at the Laugh Lounge, and our careers panned out a little different.
Is that true? She was down.
She was doing open mics in the Lower East Side. She would sing, and I remember in 2008.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, 2009 at the Laugh Lounge. I remember one of the comics coming in and saying that this girl called Lady Gaga is singing at a club like 2 blocks away, and she's phenomenal. And I remember hearing the name, and then she became famous very, very quickly after that. But I remember hearing it like, oh, people are talking about this girl on the Lower East Side.
Yeah, here's the thing. I want to talk to you for a second, Stephanie. All right, you're out there talking about your little monsters and all this, but just cut it out. Mm-hmm. You're an Italian girl. Where's she from? Is she from Sion?
She's from New York City.
Yeah, you're an Italian girl from New York City.
I think she was born in the Upper West Side? Yeah, she's Lenox Hill Hospital.
Yeah, so you're a New York girl, all right? You were born at Lenox Hill Hospital, okay? Your sister's name is Natalie.
Yeah,
and
Natalie Germanata.
Yeah, Germanata. So listen, okay, you can talk to your little monsters all you want. You can go fucking prance around all you want, but we want you to come on the History Hyenas, get back to your roots, and let's talk about fucking where you can get a nice slice.
Yeah.
I want to know where your parents think is the best Italian restaurant in Suffolk.
Yeah.
And that's all I want to know about you. So this is an open invite. I know somebody who knows is listening to this. We come fucking talk. We want to do a New York City podcast with you.
Yeah.
And I want to know if you cook a good sauce.
I don't want to talk to Lady Gaga. I want to talk to Stephanie Germanata. I want to talk to Stephanie. Stephanie's the girl I really want to talk to. Not Lady Gaga. Lady Gaga's fun on it, but I want to talk to Stephanie because I know Stephanie voted the way we voted.
Yeah.
Stephanie did what she needed to do for this country because Stephanie's father was not going to let her do something that she wasn't supposed to be doing. Stephanie's father already had to deal with Stephanie doing shows with Lil Nas X. She wasn't going to let her ruin this country by voting the wrong way.
Stephanie, we want to know what your relationship is like right now with your father because your father has a little problem with you hanging around.
Yeah, that last word you probably we're just gonna put that one into the Patreon.
That's a character piece.
That's a character piece.
But you know Stephanie's dad said it's just that way.
Yeah, it's just here's the thing, if your last name's Germanata, a lot of times these guys will go to the doctor and their blood pressure will be high, and the doctor will say, "Have you been saying the N-word in your car? That's how you get it out."
Yeah, I mean,
that's what their blood pressure, and it's not okay. We're not saying we do it, but that's what the doctors will say. They say, maybe, listen, Vinny, maybe what you're doing is you're a little stressed out. What you got to do is make sure you go in the car, go in the safe place, put the windows up, and just say the N-word, and then you'll be okay.
Yeah, that's just listen. Stephanie, we want to talk to you.
Yeah.
We want to talk to you. Can you pull up what a dad's name is? Yeah, because listen, we know your dad is just a little disappointed that you made it. He knows you're rich and famous and all that, but he would have been very happy if you were a nurse and you fucking had a townhouse in Bay Ridge,
Yeah, the
Brooklyn.
father's name is Joe Germanata. Joey German. We call him Joey Germs.
Joey Germs would have been just as happy if you married a fucking firefighter and got a nice townhouse, a nice little brick townhouse in fucking Bay Ridge, Brooklyn.
Yeah, he says to his friends, he says, yeah, my daughter, she does shows, she does dances, she does music. It's what she does. But the real thing I'm most proud of Stephanie for, the real thing I'm most proud of Stephanie, is she makes a beautiful sauce.
She makes a good
Just
sauce.
like her mother.
Yeah.
Yeah, so she's a multi-billionaire. She goes all over planes and all that, but she's a good kid.
She's a good kid. You know, look, the gays like it. Didn't really turn out the way that I wanted. Here's the thing. I don't understand. If you're Stephanie, you know, you probably got some weird stalkers out there because you're so famous. How come Stephanie doesn't know that the safest place she can be is not one of these mansions with all the security? Go buy a nice house on the fucking sewage river in Ozone Park.
Yeah.
And the neighborhood will protect you, Stephanie.
Yeah, that's what it is. Stephanie.
Because could she be safer anywhere if she had a house in Ozone Park?
100%.
Right on the water.
So, let me tell you something. If Stephanie was on Cross Bay Boulevard, nobody would walk up to her ever. We would show respect.
Yeah.
Nobody's getting close to Stephanie. People will get close to Lady Gaga, but nobody's walking up to Stephanie Germanata and stand outside Gino's Pizzeria on Cross Bay Boulevard. We're not doing that, because what Stephanie Germanata is doing is yelling at the meter maid who gave her a ticket to go the fuck back to Pakistan.
But
But Lady Gaga is out there in black and white saying we need to all be together. So she has what we call a little bit of a personality problem. Because one side of Lady Gaga is Stephanie Germanata, who wants to tell the meter maid to go back to Pakistan. And the other side of Lady Gaga is the musical artist Lady Gaga, who wants all people to be equal.
Stephanie wants to have a rumble with the Puerto Ricans who live on the other side of the avenue.
Yeah, it's what it is.
She wants to meet after school with the Puerto Rican who lives on the other side of the avenue who is talking to a man.
Now, let me tell you something right now. You ready for this? And I will send you a picture of this, Jesse, and we can post this in the episode. In 2014, or 2013, I'm sorry, when the MTV Music Awards were in Brooklyn. They were in Brooklyn. At that time, I was a hot commodity on guy coat. I was all over MTV on guy coat and girl coat. It's what I was doing. I was making $300 a week. So I was on. But anyway, Lady Gaga, if you remember, she performed, she crushed, and she performed, she had a thong on, right? So I went and took a picture I ran down, because we were sitting in the seats where the artists would perform and then sit in the seats, and we were in that MTV section. I ran down to the front, and when Lady Gaga was done with the performance, I got a picture with her, and her security guard was running down the stairs to stop me, but I just was at a wild moment back then. I got a selfie with her, and when I was getting, releasing my hand from the picture to run back up the stairs, my hand hit her ass cheek. 100%, and she just looked at me and winked. That was Stephanie. Lady Gaga would have been offended. Oh my God. But what I did was I caught Stephanie on the ass. Not Lady Gaga.
That's right.
Stephanie doesn't give a fuck, because Stephanie said, this kid's Distefano, he's got a big enough head. I could kind of be Stephanie's cup of tea. Lady Gaga's not interested in me.
Right.
Stephanie might be.
Stephanie is definitely into a guy with benefits who works for the city.
Yeah, so Stephanie looked at me and said, this guy looks like he could be that guy.
This guy looks union.
Yeah, he looks union. Because I know that she knew that I looked union because I was wearing a full suit with sneakers on. So she said, this kid's got to be from Brooklyn. So she didn't mind the ass cheek palm, because it wasn't not intentional.
No.
I said, when am I going to ever be next to Lady Gaga?
You took a swipe.
Let me just take a swipe. And Stephanie did not have a problem with it.
She did not have
Lady
a problem.
Lady Gaga might have, but she was in Stephanie mode.
She was in Stephanie
so
mode.
I like Stephanie Germanata.
She was closer to being Stephanie Germanata then. Now she's full-blown Lady Gaga. But Stephanie Germanata, look at that face, cuz. That face commutes on the Verrazano.
Stephanie Germanata is a fan of the history of Hyenas. Lady Gaga is not.
That's what I'm saying. Stephanie, stop fucking around. You're gonna hear this. I know you're gonna hear this. We want you sitting right here. Get back to your fucking roots. Your family misses you.
Stephanie and Joe Germanata, he's a lawyer. Joe Germanata might be on the Patreon.
Because Joe Germanata may be he might be one of our the names who made the PPW.
Yeah, it's what it is. Yeah,
could be
it's
Joe.
just what it is. Yeah,
Stephanie
Look
Germanata.
At that
face, cuz.
She's an Italian girl from New York, and Stephanie Germanata, I gotta be honest with you, just makes me feel safe. I've always liked her music, and now I know why. It's because I like Stephanie Germanata's music.
I guarantee you when she gets older, she may start going as Stephanie Germanata. Because, she's Italians have like a long legendary list of like famous singers.
Right.
Right? You got Frankie
Sinatra, Frankie Avalon.
I mean, there's just a long...
Dean Martin. All these guys are Italian kids.
Yeah, I mean, that's you. That's her. She's going to be one of those classic as she gets older.
Tony Bennett.
I mean, the list goes on.
Stephanie Germanato. So she is the headliner of this first weekend at Coachella. And yeah, so you had the first known. And by the way, Benson Boone is another one. I saw Benson Boone perform last year. It's my daughter's favorite singer, and the kid can move. And I heard he absolutely ripped at Coachella. And he's another hottie with a body. So if
I don't know who half these people are who are headlining Coachella. It just means that I'm a little bit of an older.
I mean, there's a kid on here whose name is Tin Liquor.
Yeah.
If you see that Tin Liquor next to Lola Young, so there's a kid doing Coachella's name's Tin Liquor.
Yeah.
And I don't know who that is, but that's who I would go see.
And let me just say right now, Ahmed Spins may or may not be at Coachella. He's on the list of headliners, but depending on whether Ice gets to him or not, he may or may not show up.
Yeah, and here's the thing too, is we actually did just find our spy. China is finding a way to infiltrate even Coachella. There's a band up here that meant to call themselves Malibu State, but instead they call themselves Malibu State.
Yeah,
so Malibu State is just what Chinese undercover that just spelled it wrong, and we've caught you.
Yeah, and 4 bats.
Yeah,
I mean, yeah.
These are what a little Chinese. These are
Malibu State is hilarious.
Malibu State. It's meant to be saying,
yeah,
and it's just we found them, and it's what it is. But at least you know now when Malibu State is performing, at least you know that the audience will be recorded.
Yeah.
So, all right, guys, listen, we're going to get to the rest of the history of Coachella right after this ad break. Guys, remember when we saw that kid who came up to us today when we were eating breakfast, and he was a big Hyenas fan, and then he went to walk away near the huge bald spot? He can use something called Hims.
Hims, baby. If you're into a company that really is sure about its pronouns, it's Hims. Hims is for you. Do you got problems with your hair?
You do sometimes have problems with your hair because you might be benefiting from a little thing called HIMS, Hims.
Yeah, those are the days I don't use my Hims treatments.
Yeah, you got to use your Hims treatments. You're on a low dose of Prozac. You need to be on a low dose of Hims.
Yeah. So here's the deal, guys. Hims provides you a convenient access to a range of hair loss treatments that work all from the comfort of your couch.
Yeah, it's like it, and you just put it on top of your head. Don't put it on your ass or pubes or anywhere else. Because if
you don't want more hair there.
You don't want more hair there. And if you're starting to notice your hair thinning when you look in the mirror, you're not alone. You might look at yourself and say, I really am a bald piece of shit.
Yeah.
And the thing is, you might be a piece of shit, but you don't have to be bald because you just go and use Hims.
Yeah, just go. Hims is, you don't have to go to a doctor's office. It just comes straight to your house. Help yourself out. There's ways to make it look like you got more hair, to regrow your hair. There's chewable oral sprays, serum treatments. Go find out where works best for you. The process is simple, 100% online. So just go right now. No insurance is needed. One low price covers everything from treatments to ongoing care. So it's great.
Yeah, just go. Don't be bald anymore. Do Hims. Start your free online visit today at hims.com/hyenas. That's HIMS.com/hyenas for your personalized hair loss treatment options. Hims.com/hyenas. Now, we do have to tell you that results vary based on studies of topical and oral minoxidil and finasteride. Prescription products require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if prescription is appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for full details and important safety information. And I got to be honest with you, that's stupid that you make the people read that because this is when they fucking tune out.
Cause you know what's great about being in a closed relationship?
Tell me.
You can get a little taste of what it's like with Open Phone to be free.
Yeah, because the thing is I want a phone. I want a business phone system. I want a
phone that makes me feel like I got a guma.
Yeah,
and it's Open Phone.
I'm not dealing drugs. I'm dealing puss. So you just need a few phones.
You just need a few phones. Yeah. So if you're running a business, you know what? That time you miss a call, you're leaving money on the table, whatever customer conversations matters. You need a phone system that keeps up and helps you stay connected. If you're rotating a bunch of girls, it works for that as well.
And if you're Open Phone, your team can share one number and collaborate on customer calls and texts like a shared inbox. That way, any teammate can pick up right where the last person left off, keeping response times faster than ever, because you need open phone. There's a lot of guys out there, you need open phone.
Yeah, it also has AI-powered call transcripts, summaries. You'll be able to automate follow-ups, ensuring you'll never miss a customer interaction again. This is great for people with businesses.
Yes.
So whether you're a one-person operation drowning in calls or texts, or have a large team that needs better collaboration tools, Open Phone is a no-brainer.
Here's the thing, and we're going to give you the discount code here in a second, and I know that this company wants us to say that it's good for business, and it absolutely is, but it's also good for comadres.
It's great
It's
for
just
comadres.
what it is. Just, you got to know your customers here. There's going to be guys getting Open Phone for the comadre, and right now they're offering our listeners here 20% off your first 6 months at openphone.com/hyenas. That's openphone.com/hyenas. And if you have existing numbers with another service, Open Phone will port them over at no extra charge. And the more open numbers you have, the more comadres you have.
Open Phone, no missed calls, no missed opportunities.
No missed customers, no missed puts.
Okay, so basically people have always loved music since civilization started. I mean, what is music? That's the thing. I always ask myself, what is it? Does it mean we have a soul? Where does it come from?
So
why does it make us happy?
Because what music actually does, it's a scientific fact, what it actually does is it calms us down. There's a neuroscience to this. Like, music actually, what it does is our brains can't handle it. So all the sounds pumping overstimulates our brain, and it actually has a calming effect on us because our brain can't handle it all. So it just goes into like a default calm, relaxed setting. That is an actual fact.
I know, but what is music? Like, what is it? Like, what's its funk? Like, where does it come from?
Where did music?
Like, when someone can sing, like, where, like, and then you get goosebumps.
Yeah.
When you get your goosebumps.
Yeah.
What is that? Is that God?
That is God.
Yeah.
I believe truly that
Yeah.
is God, because that is a talent that, for me, if not everyone can do it,
Yeah.
that means God picks and chooses like who he wants to put his talent through. And I think that a singer is God. Whitney Houston to me is God.
Is that like a glimpse into divinity when we hear someone sing?
I believe so.
Yeah.
I genuinely believe so. Because the thing is, music, it's not a new thing here. You think that we all are guilty of thinking everything is just the first time it's happened is when we've experienced it. But not only, it's just, you just scroll up a little bit on the notes, because I want to make sure I say this right. Yes. So in ancient Greece in the 6th century BC, this is one of the earliest musical festival vibes. It was called the Pythian Games at Delphi, and it was like the Olympics, but with musical competitions honoring Apollo.
Wow.
So they knew they had lyre playing, singing poetry. They gave out prizes. And it was just one of those early Greek music has been bringing people together for a long, long time.
Yeah.
So maybe that's what we need to do.
Right.
Is just maybe we just need to get maybe we got to get Ed Sheeran to the Gaza Strip. Maybe he could stop the bombs.
Well, unfortunately, yeah. I mean, you just want to make sure if you're having a musical festival in Israel, you want to be a little more inland.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right,
So
because because that's, even Hamas knew that if I want to get people at a state where they're not expecting anything, I attack the music festival.
That's right. And unfortunately, when the drum beat's going or the trance music's going, you're not sure if that's machine gun fire or a drum.
Yeah, so I got, even though
So it's bad. I think they were able to get a few more just because it was a music festival.
Yeah, so this is why I don't agree with the decision by Hamas at all, but it is good strategic planning to invade that music festival. And the Chinese want to get us, they should invade Coachella, because we ain't expecting it.
Yeah, the problem is there's been a few attacks at music festivals. Remember, we had one in Vegas.
I mean, look at this girl in the red dress.
Yeah,
I mean, what am I supposed to do here?
It's just what it is.
Yeah, it's just what it is. It's just what it is, because you just breathe.
Yeah, that's what it is.
And you might just have to get on a little thing called a low dose.
Yeah.
Because here's another one.
Yeah, just get them off the screen.
So you just, Jesse, what you're going to have to do is just put them off the screen. And the thing with me is if you throw guys up, it might have the same effect.
Yeah, and
so the problem is, see, this makes it even worse.
Yeah.
Because now I just want to DM him. I want to jump inside that guy's knapsack.
The thing about music festivals is if you're at one and then just somebody comes like hand gliding in with a machine gun, starts killing people, it's a real fucking bummer because everyone's on Molly.
Yeah, so they don't know if am I high or is this really happening?
Yeah, and also it's just, is there anything more of a fucking Molly kill than murder?
No.
That's tough.
That's tough. But I will say it was called the V Festival back in London in 2011 or 2012. And I actually met Ed Sheeran there. I've told that story before. It was cool. cool. But somebody did die at the festival, and I watched them try to pump the kid's heart.
Yeah.
Wasn't working. Then they just wheeled him out, and the music continued because they just expect a couple of kids to go down.
Yeah.
That's a real thing.
Yeah.
They expect a couple of kids. I mean, dude, any type of outdoor setting, a couple of unhealthy kids are going to go down. I mean, somebody died at a Soul Joel comedy show, and Sergio Chacon saw it and just kept doing his jokes.
That was me. That was my show.
That was an out. When Soul Joel was doing his shows outside, people just dropped.
Yeah, the guy dropped while I was on stage.
Yeah, did you see him drop?
I did not see him drop, but they stopped the show while I was in the middle of my set.
And paramedics had to come in.
They came in, he pumped his chest, and the kid died.
And he died.
Yeah,
and
I was killing so hard that he died.
And then did you have the wig on or no?
No wig.
Yeah. Because that would have been funny if you had the wig on and you got to stop the show.
Yeah, I've had some wild stuff happen while during my career. That was one of them. A guy died at my show.
Legitimately died. I think he was a fat kid, but he was also on drugs. He was
also on drugs. Unfortunately, it was probably another casualty of fentanyl.
That's a problem with these Coachella things. Is it's a lot of fun. By the way, you know,
it's a lot of drugs.
Anyone that complains, by the way, about comedy shows being too pricey, that are they're $40. How about weekend one is $649 general admission for Coachella for you to stand next to everyone on drugs, sweating, 12 hours to get in, 12 hours to get out, living in the sand.
Yeah.
Okay? Is that $649. So I don't want for you to be a football field away listening to Lady Gaga, watching her on the screen.
Yeah.
When you could be up close and personal with me and Yanni for a nice, cool 40 beans.
That's it.
So go to historyinasisback.com to see our comedy shows. We got a bunch of dates up there. My show at MSG Arena has moved down to the theater.
That's what it is.
On September 11th, it's what it is.
And I'm in Cleveland right now. While you're listening to this, I am in Cleveland. So get your tickets for that. But people have always gathered together around music since ancient Egypt, and it was in Egypt they did it to honor the goddess
Hathor,
the goddess of music, dance, fertility, and wine. So people would do the drugs that are there. They would just drink a lot of wine, get into a trance, and fuck.
That's what it is. It was called the Festival of the Drunkenness, as we said, and they would say they would awaken spirituality at sunrise. So that means. Yeah, it's just unfortunate.
Yeah, because ancient times they didn't.
Yeah. And we'll have to edit that part out because we got dinged for that and say, and the women. They got raped. The women got raped because, unfortunately, that's just what happened back then. Is they would get women drunk and then just do what they wanted with them, and they just celebrated it as spiritual awakening at sunrise. But what is a little thing we like to call grape?
Grape. It's grape.
Yeah.
It's grape juice.
Yeah, and it's not good. It's
the
not
girls
okay.
had to drink grape juice.
What it is.
It's bad.
Yeah.
And then the Greeks did the same thing, and they were honoring Apollo. So I guess the first music festivals were to honor the gods and to get drunk, an excuse to get hammered. Everyone needs an excuse to get together and get hammered.
I mean, and let's be honest. What we're doing today at Coachella and the Burning Mans of the world is the same thing. We're honoring the gods, except our gods are not Apollo and people in the sun. There now the music stars. We're honoring Lady Gaga. We're honoring Beyonce. We're honoring Travis Scott. These are gods to these people.
That's very true.
So it's the same mental thing. And it just kept going on. Medieval Europe, the 11th to 13th century. This is interesting. This is where touring bands started, all the way back to the 11th century. Medieval Europe, traveling troubadours and minstrels, so guys in blackface, would gather at fairs and religious festivals and wherever it was, and they performed for nobles, peasants, whomever. And it wasn't necessarily an official music festival, but it is where the circuit began. The touring circuit is you would just perform for different lords and different towns. So it's been around a while.
Do you think those guys, there was some, the rock star back then was like a harp player in medieval Europe, and he had roadies that were just blowing him on the road?
1,000%.
And chicks that would just follow them.
100%.
Going from Gaul to Brittany. Britannica.
Yeah. And they would just, I don't think that.
They're like, are you going to see Sir Hansen Wilson on the road? He's so fucking cool. Yeah. And the girls would just leave their peasant homes. And just go there and show their tits to a harp player.
Just pull out their hairy bush for someone playing a harp.
There was a backstage pass, and the girls would get back there. And the guys would be eating turkey leg and shit like that. Yeah. They just get blown.
Yeah, it's just what it was.
It's just what it was.
Yeah. And I don't think that.
Do you think they had sexaholics back then?
I don't think so.
What is it called? SS, I don't know.
SLAA, Sex, Love, Addicts Anonymous.
Do you think they had that? Do you think they had that for medieval harp playing stars?
No, I think they didn't because I think everyone dropped dead by 25.
That's right.
So that's just nobody. The problem is today is we just have time, a lot more years in the game to evolve. So back then, if you just dropped at 25, what you would do is just have 25 years of fun and then you're done.
Then you drop.
Which
ain't a bad
thing. You get beheaded, whatever.
Yeah, it's a good way to go.
So here's the thing, cuz, is, you know, it always goes, it's the same thing. It's the same thing. The Greeks pretty much create it and do it and then forget about it. And then the Germans always perfect it. So the very first modern music festival was in Beirut, was called the Beirut Festival. And it was 1876 in Germany. And it was founded by Richard Wagner, the Nazi, to exclusively showcase his operas in nice theaters. Right. And he literally said, what we're going to do now is we're going to make this, we're going to monetize this. This is going to be now a organized, coordinated event. And it was the first festival with dedicated staging, acoustics, and a theme. Like how we have theme festivals today. That was Richard Wagner and the Beirut Music Festival in 1876, Germany.
And you know what I love about Jesse? It's just where Frank's Beans operation, he took the notes and he moved them farther to the right so we can't see them because the camera's blocking it.
Yeah, well, I think that's because we were talking about Germany, he moved everything to the right.
He moved it to the right.
It's just what it is. Yeah. So the thing is really, if you really want to go back to when was the origination of the music festival as we know it today, you have to go back to a little place called Germany, a little place that is near and dear to my heart.
And his name was Richard Wagner. And so that's when operas came in.
Operas, yeah.
Yeah, classical music, you know, it's funny because things got really chill with the music. It was probably in ancient Greece and ancient Egypt, it was probably pretty raucous.
Yeah.
And then it got really buttoned up and civilized.
Yeah, because Germans they can maintain a bit of calmness.
They can maintain a bit of calmness. They're they're dualistic. They're kind of like Stephanie and Lady Gaga.
Yeah.
On the battlefield, they're a little bit more like Stephanie.
Right.
And then in the opera house, they're a little bit more like Gaga.
Yeah.
It's just a little more civilized.
Yeah. And so
that was fun. That's interesting.
So
is that the first modern music festival?
That is the first modern music
Germany,
festival.
1876.
So now, you know, we've talked a little about the history, but now I don't know if people know this. The actual Coachella, which is what today's episode is mostly about, Coachella, where that actually originated has something to do with a little band called Pearl Jam.
Pearl Jam.
So Pearl Jam is very famous for having a beef with Ticketmaster and boycotting Ticketmaster. And what they did in 1993 was they played a show at the Empire Polo Club in Indio, California, which is where Coachella is. And they said, we're going to just literally go into the middle of a desert and play a festival, and you guys pay as you come in. And this is where Coachella, the origins of it. It wasn't actually founded until 1999 by Paul Tollett and Rick Van Satten of Golden Voice, because you just need a couple of Jews to be able to get their hands on it. You just need Yeah, you know, you need a little thing. You just need a little truffle pigs to sniff out the money. And some people may say, I'm taking that from the Kill Tony episode where Shane Gillis, as Donald Trump, said Trump is a truffle pig and
we've been saying truffle pigs
forever. We've been saying truffle pigs from the beginning, not accusing at all.
No.
Shane, because it's been out there. Never. Shane is a comic genius, not accusing, but just know, sniffing out the truffle pigs for money, we've been saying that since 2018.
That's been a History Hyenas special for a long time.
So we're just going to keep saying it. We sniffed out these Paul Tollett and Rick Van Satten of Golden Voice are just a couple of truffle pigs that smelled that Pearl Jam money, and they officially founded it in 1999, and it was held over 2 days in October. It was headlined by Beck, Rage Against the Machine, and Tool. So what you know one thing and one thing only, that the very first Coachella in 1999 was mostly white. They were not interested in anybody else other than white bands. If you have Beck, Rage Against the Machine, and Tool.
And here's the thing that's interesting is Beck is a Scientologist, and I think the lead singer from Tool got nicked. Yeah. He got nicked as a kid. Unfortunately, he's talked about the fact that he was raped as a child. He was raped. He had to drink the grape juice.
He drank the grape juice, and it happens, and people just get nicked. Some people get nicked in the womb.
But you take your pain and you turn it into art. That's what Tool did. And Beck took his pain as a child and he turned it into being in a cult.
Yeah.
And that's just what it is. I mean, the kid is just a Scientologist.
Yeah.
And the motto of Scientology is always, mouths are for sucking, not for talking.
That's what it is.
That's just what they say when you join.
That's what it is. And here's the bottom line is Scientology probably can't get me. I don't have any interest in doing it.
They could convince you that they're the true way very easily.
You think so?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. So how do I prevent that? Because I can get honeypotted as long if a Scientologist appears as an Asian woman, I will get honeypotted.
Because you're for the table, you're available.
Yeah.
The Muslims, you swing like you're the wind hitting a sailboat.
Yeah.
I mean, it just depends. It could come east, it could come west, it could come south, it could come north.
Yeah.
But you're available.
What I am is a little warped.
You're a little warped.
A little warped.
That's it. Things got a little warped in childhood, and it's just how it is.
And so what we have to do now is we scale it back and we go in a little thing called a low dose. That's the way, because what you have to do in this world is give yourself a little thing we like to call space.
Space.
Give yourself a little space.
Give yourself a little space.
And sometimes the only way to get to space is gotta get a low dose.
You just gotta get 5 milligrams of Lexapro.
You gotta go
just give yourself a little space.
If you want to go to space, you got to get in the rocket ship. And the way the rocket ship goes is a little thing called the Lexapro train. Yeah.
It's just all there is to it. It's just not a big deal. It's not a big
what
deal.
it is, because now tell
But
us.
that's so cool to know that the first Coachella was actually formed out of rebellion against Ticketmaster.
A Pearl Jam.
We
man.
can't really talk openly about Ticketmaster because they work so much with comedy.
Yeah, they
But
work.
they're fucking ripping everybody off.
They are, but I just want to say that I love you, Ticketmaster.
Me
I love
too.
you, Live Nation. And the reason I'm specifically saying that is because my property taxes are a little high.
Yeah.
So I just need a little loot in the pocket. I'm going to need that for about 10 to 15 years till the little one gets through school. And then I'll talk shit about Ticketmaster.
Yeah,
but right now I cannot.
We actually love Ticketmaster. We were just joking. It's a great system. But aren't they up for isn't there like a monopoly suit
They
against
are
them?
up. The government's trying to come at them now.
Yeah, because they own the venue, they own the tickets, they own everything, right?
Yeah, and we're going to tell you some fun stuff about Ticketmaster and some mind-blowing facts about Coachella right after these ads.
Light Strike. Tell me about Light Strike.
Because, well, here's the thing. What I like about Light Strike is it's a hard refresher, and it's like unlike anything the alcohol industry has ever seen. It's an excellent source of 5% alcohol, because if you want to have a little alcohol, I like a little bit of low dose. I like a 5%er, and it's the first beverage built to outpace the party, and it's the sponsor of the Two Bears 5K in Tampa, Florida on May 4th, and it is yet to, we are sitting here right now in April, and we don't know if Bert Kreischer's dead or alive.
He's alive as of the reading of this episode.
Yeah, but his skin did look purple when he came in here.
Yeah, it's the sponsor of the Two Bears 5K in Tampa, Florida on May 4th. Like Chrissy said, it is an excellent source of 5% alcohol. It's a hard refresher. It's not just a drink. It's a goddamn survival tool. It's the perfect party pacer.
Yes.
So go right now. Go get the different flavors. Go check them out. Drink them cold or over ice. Just go to drinklightstrike.com.
drinklightstrike.com. Follow them on TikTok and Instagram at drinklightstrike. And yeah, dude, just have fun with it. And if you want to hear the real ad, go to patreon.com/historyhyenas. We went wild.
Eddie Vedder really said fuck you to the music industry
really
and to
did.
Ticketmaster. And that's basically, Coachella was formed out of a big middle finger from Eddie Vedder.
Yeah, and I appreciate that. And I just have to be honest with you. I have less than a 0% desire to ever go to Coachella. I wouldn't, unless they started doing comedy there and you flew me right in and right out. I have zero desire to go to any music festival of any kind. I don't want to stand in a line. I don't care anymore. I'm looking for the bars and restaurants that have no people in them.
That's what I like too.
Right? I like to, because what I want to do is just sit down with my partner and try and connect, because it's very difficult for me.
Right.
I just want to
Have you
say,
ever thought about being
focusing
a monk?
on you.
Or it's seriously I think you need to just maybe become a monk.
Right. Well, I have been sitting down meditating.
Yeah.
And the problem is with becoming a monk is I can't shave my head because I like the way my hair looks.
Yeah, your hair looks good.
You like that? It's slicked back to the sides and it's up a little bit.
That would be funny if you went to a monastery and it was all monks with shaved heads and then you were just the only one who had hair.
Yeah. I just came in and I said,
I'm compromising on everything else. I've given up everything, but I can't give up my pompadour.
I can't give up my hair. You guys can tape my eyes back if you want, but I'm not going to cut my hair.
Because you got a pompadour.
But what do you think? Should I cut or is it nice?
I like the pompadour. My dad would call that a pompadour.
Your dad told me I got a face that looks like I could play for the Brooklyn Dodgers.
Yeah.
And that's just a funny thing.
Do you know that that's called a pompadour?
Is it?
Can you pull up pompadour?
Pull it up.
You have a prototypical classic 1950s pompadour.
Ladies, can you
Chrissy pompadour?
Can you comment at patreon.com/historyhyenas and historyhyenas and tell me if my haircut makes me a piece or not a piece? Tell me if I look like Janelle Monáe.
Yeah, because you got a pompadour.
I got a pompadour.
Can you just pull up 1950s pompadour?
Yeah, pull up 1950s.
Because these pompadours are different, but the 1950s pompadour. I mean, you got a classic 1950s pompadour. There you go. Look at Elvis.
It's what it is. And my life's going to end like Elvis. I'm going to die in the toilet eating a peanut butter and banana sandwich. It's just what it is. Make no mistake, Stephanie Germanotta's father wants her to have a guy with a haircut like this.
She wants a guy like that, cuz she wants a guy who's Italian.
Cuz make absolutely.
But she's like gender fluid, right? Kind of bisexual.
She is, but that's Lady Gaga. I don't think Stephanie Germanotta is really like that. I bet you we might even have a DM from Stephanie Germanotta's burner account on the History Hyenas.
I bet you we do.
Not Lady Gaga, but there might be a girl named Stephanie Germanotta that just messages us.
Because I know there's no way she was raised to be Lady Gaga.
No.
There's just no way.
No, this happened. As a matter of fact, when she became Lady Gaga, her father, Joe Germanotta, wanted to take her to therapy. He wanted to get her institutionalized.
Yeah, she did.
Because he said, why is my daughter not becoming a school teacher?
Yeah,
what's going on?
Yeah, how come she's not fucking working at Methodist Hospital?
Yeah, why is she not a school teacher or a nurse?
Yeah, how come she's not driving a white BMW and very happy about that?
The hell is she doing?
What's she doing?
Why? Yeah. So here we go. So now the mainstream explosion of Coachella happens really when I started hearing about it was the big thing I heard about was the Tupac hologram in 2012.
Oh, yeah.
There's a lot of stuff that happened before that, but that Tupac hologram during Dr. Dre and Snoop Dogg's set, now a lot of people use holograms, but that was the first one, and I remember time almost standing still that Tupac got brought back on this hologram, and that was Coachella. That cost $500,000 to do.
Yeah. Right after 9/11, post 9/11, it exploded. They started getting big acts like the Red Hot Chili Peppers, Beastie Boys, the White Stripes. And then it really exploded with Radiohead in 2004.
Daft Punk came out there.
Yeah, so it just started getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And then by 2007 to 2010, that's when it got integrated.
Yes.
That's when Jay-Z was the first rap headliner in 2010. And so that's when it really exploded and the blacks and whites started partying together.
And that's when the festival actually began selling tickets, because here's the thing, man, is rappers sell tickets.
Yes.
People want to go watch rappers. And so now Coachella is a slam dunk sold out event. It is probably the biggest event in music, I would say, Coachella, right?
And probably social media really accelerated it because people just
100%.
take pictures of themselves at Coachella.
I mean, and everyone who goes is
a smoke show.
It's a smoke show, and that's okay. What you need from that is a little thing we call space.
Because hot people like being around other hot people.
Yes.
I mean, really, until you become an adult with kids, you're really just living in high school cliques.
Yeah.
Because when you become an adult, your friends just become the parents of other kids.
Right.
So you're not in a clique anymore.
Right.
You're in a community.
Right.
But before that, it's just the cool kids go to Coachella, the nerd kids go. I don't know what they do.
The nerd kids go to the cool kids go to Coachella. The nerd kids go to Comic-Con.
They go to Comic-Con.
That's what it is.
That's what it is.
That's what it is.
Yeah. And then where do the fat, ugly people go? I'm just being blunt. I'm sorry.
So
there are some fat, ugly people.
So what happens is
where do they go?
The cool kids go to Coachella.
Yeah.
The nerd kids go to Comic-Con. And then the fat, ugly kids just go on cruises.
That's where they go.
They just go on a theme cruise. So here's how it works.
Got it.
It's very simple.
Right.
The cool kids go to Coachella. The nerd kids go to Comic-Con, and the fat kids they have a pick. They either go on the Bert Kreischer cruise or the Impractical Jokers cruise. That's where they go.
That's exactly right.
That's what it is. That's the way the cookies crumbled.
Yeah.
And that's the little thing that we like to call a Ruth Bader Ginsburg, aka a Truth Bader Ginsburg. So that's a TBG. It's a Truth Bader Ginsburg. It's just what I like to do is call it like I see it.
Yeah.
And when you go on a cruise ship, you see very, very fat, ugly people with back knee.
Yes.
And you see people who are in their mid-30s in motorized wheelchairs.
That's right.
And typically that's a theme cruise.
Right.
So you could call that a music festival in the ocean.
Yeah.
So they're doing the same thing that Coachella is doing. If your music festival is on land, you have hot people.
Right.
If your music festival is on water, you have fat, ugly people.
Yeah, because whales belong at sea.
Exactly. So that's what you get on a music festival in the water is what you get there, and then Coachella is you get that. So Jesse, if you could just post that picture for the fat on the water, for the cruise on the water, and then post Coachella pic, you get that. You get pink. That's what you get on land, and then that's what you get on water.
Yeah, that's a Matt Rife show.
Yeah.
It's Coachella, and then you go to an Impractical Jokers show, and that's what you get.
It's what it is. It's okay because everyone at the end of the day is making real money,
and everyone needs to be entertained.
Everyone needs to be entertained. So we got a little something for everybody, and what it is it's A-okay.
It's A-okay, and I will say that I've been on the Joker's cruise, performed, and I've performed also on the Bert Kreischer's cruise, and there was more traffic
Yeah.
on those cruises
Yeah.
than there is
Yeah.
on the FDR.
Yep.
During rush hour. I mean, there's just a lot of people in scooters that are holding up the line.
Listen, and it's the same, and I've done both of them too.
There's human traffic.
And I've had a good time. I've had a good time on both.
Yes, I've had a good time on both.
I've had a good time on both, and it's what it is. Those types of cruises.
If you want to fuck someone on a Burt Kreischer cruise, you need a license.
Yeah, the problem is,
You need a driver's license.
you need a driver's license.
You just got to pull up in your car and
Yeah.
say, "Hey, sweetheart," you got to meet them at a red light.
And a lot of
because
people-
everyone is on four wheels.
And a lot of people ask, how come these cruises, these music festival cruises, why can't they ever leave out of New York? Why do they have to leave out of Miami? And that's because the water's deeper in Miami, and it's a hazard if they leave from New York because the boat sinks.
That's right.
So the problem is it'll just be stuck in the bedrock. So what you got to do is you got to go to deeper waters.
You got to go to deeper waters.
Yeah, because
That's just it. That's just a cruise right there. You're going to see a lot of cargo shorts, and you're going to see a lot of people in motorized scooters.
And here's the thing.
Because they're too big to walk.
Yeah, it's what it is, and that's okay. That's the life they've chosen, and it's everything. People are doing what they want to do. We're all making up a piece of the pie here.
Yeah.
Okay? When rude people are being rude, let them be rude. When fat people are being fat, let them be fat. When jacked people are being jacked, let them be jacked. When people are going to act like people, you have the right. You make the decision inside you how you want to react. Remember, nothing is ever anybody's fault. It's always your choice to do what you want to do. Okay? The problem is when people are acting impossible, it's not them acting impossible, it's you acting impossible. You have to accept people for who they are. And some people are just fat.
There's a certain thing called Steel Pipe Chrissy that comes out once in a while that wants to tell it like it is.
Yeah.
And that's when there's less Barney Rubble influence.
Yeah.
And there's more Distefano influence.
Right.
Yeah, when you want a little bit more order and you want people to work a little harder and you want just people to stop complaining a little bit.
Yeah.
That's when
Yeah.
That's when the vegetables get moved,
Right.
a beer gets picked up, and somebody's got to talk about what society needs to be.
So what that little rant, that's from a little character we like to call Anonymous Chrissy. It's when Chrissy's working on himself, there's a little guy we like to call Anonymous Chrissy that just sees the world for how it is and is very accepting.
Yes.
And understands that he's addicted to losing it all.
But the good thing
So
about
it's Anonymous Chrissy.
But the good thing about your mom's influence is that she liked order and she liked she wanted people to go to work.
Yeah.
She just liked people working.
Yeah.
She didn't like people hanging around.
No.
So,
No.
so there's a part of you that just can't stand when people are complaining.
Yeah.
And that's where Steel Pipe Chrissy comes up, because you just don't want to hear the complaints.
Yeah.
You just want people to get up and go to work.
Yeah.
And not be dependent on your income to subsidize their living lifestyle.
What it is, cuz. It's what it is, cuz. And it's a little guy, when I get like that, it's a little guy that we call AOC, Anonymous Out Loud Chrissy.
Yeah. Anonymous Out Loud Chrissy.
AOC.
AOC
Yeah,
is
and-
Anonymous Out Loud Chrissy.
And the thing is, and I kind of just say it when I hang around with my mother for a weekend, which I did last weekend, 3 words pop into my head, and that's do your job.
Do your job.
Do your job. So I say to myself, do my job.
Yeah.
I have a job too. And then I say out there to others, do your job.
Yeah.
And you know who you're talking to. And just kind of a lot of times, Jasmine will say, she'll know when I went by my mother's house because I'll start saying some things like, do your job. And she gets a little upset with me.
Yeah.
But what we have for 10 years is what we've built is we can just work through it.
Right. Because your mom just went to work.
My mom just went to work.
Right.
Do your job.
Right.
My mom just doesn't like to come over the house to surprise the kids with Easter baskets and see that we're sending the laundry out.
She doesn't like
She
that.
wants.
I can't wait. Yeah. Okay.
So what we're gonna do is we're gonna throw that on the Patreon.
Yeah, we're gonna put that in the
What
Patreon.
we're gonna have to do is we're gonna
just
put that in the
cackle
Patreon.
that.
'Cause That's
Yeah.
just fun.
Just cackle.
That's just fun to put
Yeah.
on the Patreon.
Yeah.
And we still will have and that's
just all cackle.
That's just all because
You just heard a lot of cackles, but you can hear what it is. It's on patreon.com/historyhyenas.
Yeah.
But those things have to go on the Patreon.
they have to go on the Patreon because we have a
Stop
lot of fun on the
complaining.
Patreon.
Just stop complaining. Some things just cannot
Have
go
to go
out
on the Patreon.
Yeah, they
For
just
it's $5 for the audio, 10 for the video. I mean, you can afford it.
Yeah.
Even in the recession, you can do it.
You know what it is? Because we need you to shut your mouth when you hear certain things.
Yeah.
And the only people you can trust to do that are people who can afford $5.
That's what it is,
Yeah,
cuz.
that's what it is.
Yeah, and we see a lot of you freebies on the Patreon, and that's why we have to make it that you can't have the content, because we know that what you'll do is just put it on Reddit.
Yeah.
And the thing is, we can't trust if you can't afford 5 to 10 a month.
You can't be trusted.
But we still love you. But
It's
we
like-
just can't trust you.
Yeah,
That's
it's just
all.
like the audience is bad when you do a free comedy show. That's why you go to those types of shows to work on your material.
Yeah.
Because they got low expectations.
Low expectations.
Because they're the type of people that you were just talking about.
Yeah.
They're not going to work and doing their job.
They're not doing their job, and that's what we want to see from the people. Now, let me ask you, cuz, what was the most fascinating thing, do you think, recapping the episode today about Coachella and the history of music festivals? What did you learn? What do you feel?
Well, the only music festival I ever went to was Rap Mania with my Puerto Rican girlfriend when I was in 9th grade, and that was in
Did you have
Harlem.
fumes or no fumes?
She had no
Puerto
fumes.
Ricans, it's almost impossible for Latinas to have no fumes. They are the ones that I believe God made the breeders.
Yes.
Those are the breeders.
And she was able to get us in. It was at the Apollo, and it was Rap Mania, and it was incredible. But make zero mistake, I was the only white kid within miles.
Yeah.
It wasn't the Harlem that it is now.
Right.
It was a different time, and I went there, and I saw Slick Rick was there. I mean, it was crazy. It was Rap Mania, and that's the only musical festival. I grew up on rap music.
Yeah,
And you don't like music.
I don't like.
You're not a music guy.
I'm not a musical.
Because you got to stop and appreciate music, and you don't like to stop.
I remember being a kid. The music that I liked when I was a kid was Whitney Houston. I always liked Whitney Houston in the '80s vibe, and then because I would listen to it in my Aunt Eileen's car when she would pick me up.
And I just took a sip of water, and there was Zins in there.
Yeah, it's just what it is.
I just drank Zins.
So he drank his Zin water, and now I remember Aunt Eileen used to pick me up. She used to work at Wyckoff Heights Hospital, and she would pick me up from my grandfather's house, and she would be in her 1991 Toyota Corolla that eventually got stolen, and I remember her license plate XXR2247.
Yeah.
And so I remember that, and she used to always have on Light FM. And Light FM had 80s music on, and I remember
a little Lionel Richie.
Lionel Richie, Whitney Houston, Smooth Operator. So that's the kind of music I would listen to. And then my grandfather would have on a little lady we like to know, a little lady known as Connie Francis.
Yeah.
So we listened to a lot of Connie Francis, Lipstick on My Collar.
Yeah.
So we would do all that, and we'd listen to 60s old school music and 80s music. And then the new music, like all my friends, they knew had everyone's album, the Jay-Z album. I never did any of that. What I had to do is play a little thing called pretend.
Right.
I had to pretend that I knew what was going on. Just like when I got into comedy, I had to pretend to Sam Morrill and Mark Normand and the comedy peer group that I had that I knew anything about anybody's comedy album when I didn't know anything.
Right.
I didn't know anything at all.
Right.
I just said I just got into comedy because I just wanted to make people laugh and I wanted to escape my family. And the real reason why I got into stand-up comedy, you want to know the real truth?
Yeah.
Is I had to.
Yeah.
I got forced to because I started telling people in college in 2005 that I was doing stand-up every night, but I hadn't been doing it at all. And I would invite them to my show that didn't exist and then cancel at the last minute. And then finally in 2008, I said, I can't run this lie anymore. I'm going to have to actually do it. So I took a comedy class to keep up the lie, and I just was okay at it, so I kept doing it. But deep down inside, I don't even really want to be doing comedy. I'm just too far in now. My property taxes are too high to stop.
Because the thing, you're loose with the truth.
What it is. But is that okay?
That's okay.
Yeah.
That's okay. It's not a big deal. It's not a big deal that you're...
As long as I'm not disparaging my family, I could be loose with the truth.
You're loose with the truth.
Because I used to disparage my family and be loose with the truth, so we don't do that anymore. But I will be loose with the truth and tell you that this whole thing started as a lie.
Yeah. It started as it's just you're a kid who's a little loose with the facts.
Yeah, it's what it is.
Yeah.
I just like to have fun with it.
Reality is a suggestion. And that's just how it goes.
How it goes. I remember going to St. Joseph's College in downtown Brooklyn, and 3 blocks away there was a place there called the Connecticut Muffin.
Yeah.
And I said I was doing a comedy show there Friday at 8 o'clock.
Yeah.
And I started telling people to go, and then Thursday at 8 I said the show was canceled, and people were saying, oh, I never got a flyer, never got information. I said, yeah, the show got canceled, but the truth is I had told everyone I was doing stand-up, but I was too pussed to get on stage.
Yeah, here's the
So
thing.
that's just what I did. That's how I live my life.
That's why you gravitated towards me, because what happened is you were a kid from Ridgewood, Queens.
Yeah.
Right? Who had a single mother who was working.
Yep.
You had a father who was doing a little horse. He was playing horses.
Playing horses.
You were a kid from there who was just a Catholic kid who went to a Catholic school, who just grew up around Polish kids, drinking 40s, playing basketball. You went to Malloy.
Yeah.
You were a New York kid, and then you went into the city. You thought you needed to bring your passport to cross the bridge the first time you came.
Yep.
You saw your first Jew. You almost ran back.
Yep.
And you just had to talk to kids like Sam Morrell, who were Jewish kids with autism, and you just didn't know what was going on.
I didn't know what
You
to
didn't
do.
know if you were going to catch gay, if you were going to catch
Yeah.
Democrat. You just didn't know what was going on. You were scared of lesbians. You were scared of different. There was Jews. There was Protestants. You didn't know what was going on. All you know is Puerto Ricans. All you know is Serbian kids. All you know is an occasional smelly Greek diner.
Yeah.
You're just a New York kid, and then you got exposed to the city with all these Jews and all these other people, and you just had to pretend.
Yeah.
And you go, you guys, I'm an Italian from Greece. I don't know.
I
just don't know how to talk to you people.
Yeah.
And then you met me, and I understood you.
Yeah.
I understood that you had steakums for dinner.
Yeah.
I understand that you had a neutral staircase.
Yeah.
I understand that you lived in the house with your aunt and your mom and your cousin.
Yeah.
I understand that there was beers that were cracked on the neutrals because they were upset because Chrissy was failing out of school.
Yeah.
Yeah, and because his friend Letitia came over.
Yeah. And
it's
just what it is. And she got banged out.
Yeah. And I understood that sometimes you had pizza for dinner. And I just understand.
Yeah.
I understand.
You accepted me for me, and I didn't have to keep up this lie. I didn't have to keep up
because
this lie.
you're a borough monkey.
Yes.
Yeah, because you're a Queens kid.
Yeah, it's what it is. Rather than, I used to tell people in high school that I was actually half Italian, half Egyptian to sound more exotic. I used to tell people when I got cut from the varsity basketball team that I got cut because I'm actually playing football and I got a scholarship to Alabama.
Yeah.
Now, none of these things were true.
Yeah.
So what we would do is we just move forward, and then we continued moving forward into comedy with, hey, I could say anything, right? And then what happened? And then what happens is I met Yanni, and Yanni said, no, I know who the real you is.
I know who you are.
And then I felt calm. And then I felt calm. I felt okay to tell Yanni that, hey, listen.
Can I ask you a question?
My mom wants to sell the house, and Hasidic Jews keep coming up and saying that they'll buy it in cash. My mom says, I'm not selling to those people.
Right. I'm
So
not
that-
selling to those people.
Yeah.
And then when you said she told me that they can crawl in your shoes and turn invisible, and I said that's actually a fact.
Yeah.
You felt like there's somebody who finally understands my family's worldview.
Yeah, it's what it is.
It's
Yeah.
what it is. Now, did you ever take a vacation outside of New York City until you were in your 20s? What part of the world did you see before you were in your 20s?
There was one place and one place only where my mother would take me on vacation every single summer, and still to this day continues to want to take me every single summer. And that's a place called Lancaster, Pennsylvania. We would go to the Amish country.
That's right.
Because we could take Amtrak there because my mom couldn't drive and my dad was just on Staten Island. So we would go to we would take Amtrak to Lancaster, Pennsylvania, and we would go ride around on Amish horse and buggies and eat shoe fly pies and talk to the Amish, and that was our vacation. We go to Hershey Park.
If you don't understand how much of a neighborhood type of world New York was before the internet,
Right.
Chris Distefano grew up in New York City,
Yep.
which was called by Jesse Jackson because it has more Jews than anywhere in the world. And Chris had not met a Jew until you were past puberty.
Yes.
So that's the type of life you came. So you came into the city and you just didn't know what to do with all these people.
No, I didn't meet. As a matter of fact, the only time I ever saw Jewish people is when there was traffic on the BQE, and my grandfather would get off the BQE and drive through Williamsburg, Brooklyn to get back to Ridgewood, and he would tell everyone to put their windows up. So, and that's just that's a Truth Bader Ginsburg, and it's unfortunate. It's just what the older generation of guys just used to do and used to think was funny. And he did honestly tell me, and I knew it was a joke, but I wasn't 100% sure.
Yeah.
He would tell me, if you hit one of the Hasidic Jews, you got points on your license. Like it was a good, like positive, like it was a game.
Yeah, you weren't like brought up to be a worldly guy. You're brought like in your DNA. It's got to be understood that like anxiety probably comes when you leave New York because you weren't a guy who was encouraged to go see what's going on in other places.
No, like I was very shocked when I met my first girlfriend. I went to her house for Easter Sunday, and they didn't have the Easter bunny bread with the egg in the middle, because that's what Aunt Janet always has.
Right.
And so I would always have Easter bunny bread with the egg in the middle, and I would have that with a Diet Pepsi.
Right.
So, and I didn't understand why they weren't getting catering from Joe and John's Pizzeria for Easter Sunday and every other holiday.
Right.
I didn't understand why people's moms and dads were cooking at home.
Right.
I didn't get it. I said, how come everyone's not in the basement right now, talking about the neighborhood and how it's changing?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Me and Jesse are a couple of kids who can understand that.
Yeah.
When I was a kid, I used to get into my friend Chad's mother's Peugeot, and we would go to Brighton Beach.
Yeah.
And then we'd go to the beach.
Yeah.
And then we'd go get a Knish, and then on the way back, my friend's mother would just stop and just get a little crack through the window while Light FM was on and Lionel Richie was playing.
Yeah.
And then her black friend Walter would come over and they would just do crack in the den with a spaghetti rug on the floor. And then we would just find crack vials in the spaghetti rug.
It's what
and
it
that
is.
was just the 80s in New York City. And it's just what it was.
You were just in the back seat watching Chet's mom smoke a little crack, and you were hearing "Smooth Operator."
And it's exactly what it was. smooth operator. It's just a little Barry White sometimes would play on Light FM, and that's just what it was. And that is the history of music to me.
That's the history.
Crack files in the spaghetti rug.
And some of that episode you've heard at patreon.com/historyhyenas because we have to edit out, but it is where all the gold is. And we will now read the names of the newest members of the Matriarchy at patreon.com/historyhyenas. And as always, we will pick the funniest name to be the PPW pseudo penis of the week. Only way to get your name read over at Patreon. So go ahead. So right now, leading us off, welcome to the Matriarchy, Williamsburg Ultimate Frisbee Champion Kanye West.
We're going to put that on the list.
So this is one of the first times that the very first guy out of the gate gets on the list.
I don't remember it.
It almost never happened. So congratulations. Andy L. Then we have Vivek Ramaswamy Stuffing Salami Kamalas Fumari. Okay. It
went for a good rhyme scheme.
Sarah, then we got my wife's puss tastes like aqua di Gigio. What's aqua di Gigio?
It's it's a cologne. It's like
it's like a perfume.
It's like a cheap.
So he's saying his wife sprays cheap cologne on the puss.
Yeah. You just give it. Yeah, I mean, a good one.
Okay, then we got Dirk. No frisbees allowed. Power forward 41.
Okay. Dirk Nowinski.
Michael Novice. Then we got Shlomo's pager supply. No refunds. Can't do it, right?
Can't do it. That's a walked into one.
Okay, can't do it, but we understand where you're going.
Yeah.
Then we got Father Bill, microwave my ass like the boys did to Nagasaki.
It's a good one.
Okay,
but it was a walked into one.
Then we got Grace Elizabeth Ann. That's a wasp. We got a wasp girl on there.
A girl named Grace, for sure.
Then we got, Grace Elizabeth Ann has no fumes.
No fumes.
All right. So then we got vodka monkey squeak with a guilty soul and small feet. Hashtag UCF. Hashtag go Knights. So he's saying he's an undercover.
Yeah. Okay, we're getting there.
Okay. Phil Bear, Wei John Cena.
Wei John instead of Wei John.
Yeah. I think we've had that already.
Yeah, we went for it.
Then we got Apollonia's nipples in Godfather Part 1.
Very nice.
Nice. I like that. Those are nice nipples. Yeah. Ray Mao, JD Trans.
Instead of Vance.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good one. Chicken finger.
Anne Franks and Beans.
We've had that.
Unemployed crisis actor.
Put him on the list. Put him on the list. That is a fucking chicken finger that hits the list. Yeah, that's a contender.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
Then we got Uncle Russell's Leroy.
That's you can't disparage. I mean, that's someone who's just a really attentive fan.
Yeah.
So what do we attention to the details?
Pays attention to the details.
We did
mention
allude
to that maybe on the Patreon. So it's Uncle Russell's Leroy. Should we say if you know, you know, and leave it at that?
Yeah, that's just if you know, you know.
Yeah, and it's just know that we're commending you as a good one, but we can't disparage.
Can't disparage. Yeah, it's just a detail that Chris shouldn't have said.
Yeah, it's just what it is. It's just
two personal details.
Yeah, and not disparaging the family is just part of my journey through sobriety. So Lynn Poulos. Then we got on Japan. We dropped the bombing. Now we got Otani.
It's so good though.
But it's a good because we talked about how the nuclear radiation may have made these guys bigger.
That's why it's so good. I mean, it is a walked into one, but how do I not put that on the list?
Because are we 100%
I think we make an exception because the Japanese were the enemy that we can put it on the list.
Do you have Otani and these guys as big and good as this without the nuclear bomb? That's the question we're asking here.
And that's a contender, and I'm putting it on the list.
Okay.
Because the Japanese were the enemy during that time.
And they also
were allowing the joke.
And they were disgraceful to the Chinese, so that needed to happen. But the good thing is we planted a seed and we grew in Otani.
That's right. Okay. It's sort of like the silver lining of the situation.
Okay.
It's like if you ask the Japanese people, if Otani did come from the nuclear bomb, would you take it back?
Yeah.
I mean, the pride that you now have in Otani.
Yeah.
Was it worth it? In some ways, you can't make omelets without breaking a few.
Then we got Anthony Robles. And then here we got one, Joe Rogan step stool.
Ladder 14.
We might have to give that one. That might have to be catapulted
on the list. Yeah,
catapult. I mean, that's a funny one. Yeah, it's got layers.
It's got layers.
Then we got I ate Caitlyn Jenner's cookie.
That one's got phone books.
Yeah, that's what it is. So then we got I ate Caitlyn Jenner's cookie puss, and now I swing right.
Because she's a right-wing girl.
Yeah, she's cookie puss. She had to call her pussy a cookie puss, a Carvel cake, which is funny.
Drexler.
Okay. Tamar Tervizian, Lazarus. Then we got N-word Scissorhands.
Wei Song Xian.
It's a walked into one, but
one can't say that.
Yeah, it's close to Edward. He meant Edward.
Yeah. Okay.
Edward Scissor.
Okay. And then we got
So good.
so good. Then we got Winnie the Jew stuck in Honey Hamas tunnels.
Ladder 14.
Winnie the Jew might have just got us.
Winnie the Jew.
And he spelled it Jooh.
It's so good.
What do we
do? It's a walked into one, but we can't keep.
If it was tighter, right?
yeah, but we can't just keep.
No,
the
but-
walked into ones we can't just.
No, I
some
know,
of them
but
are so good.
I know, but we're not saying we're saying Winnie the Jew would have made it. We're saying they're not going to make it because they put stuck in Honey Hamas tunnels.
Yeah, but
so
Winnie
those
the
should
Pooh.
be
But it's also good because Winnie the Pooh loves honey.
right.
So I think it's. I think
So you want to just put them on the list and see what happens?
Throw them on the fucking list.
All right,
yeah.
Okay, then we got pseudo dickless cuck.
Okay.
Then we got there's no one at spring with a frisbee on FFs.
I don't get it.
I don't get it. Fumario LaFumes, Ian King. Then we got can't date my daughter unless you're white.
So long time listener.
Yeah. Then we got Joe DeRosa Parks in the back of the balls.
Okay. Because if he went with a tranny.
Yep. Then we got Kamala Harris's. Okay, can't say because they just full blown said the N-word in here.
Can't do that one.
I mean, they said it in the song in Paris, but I just can't say it.
Right.
Okay.
So that's a legit
Yeah,
walked in
that
one.
actually I couldn't actually say.
Yeah.
Okay. Then we got Ivory Coast already has enough tariffs. Hashtag stop Trump. Saying shouldn't be putting tariffs on African nations. They already
Right.
have enough tariffs.
They have enough tariffs. We don't need them. Put them on the list.
All right.
Yeah, that's inventive.
Then we got Louis Sabalos, Vinny Aurora, Paul. Then we got Only Finder and Donnie T's Pool.
Wei Song
Yeah,
Xian.
that's a walked into one.
Yeah, so we got some people now going against Trump on the pod.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
Because people just you can't
They're
mess
mad
with
at the
people's
tariff.
money.
Yeah. Lady Yas, Dave and Mac, Steven, make no mistake, when Chrissy's voice breaks, I go pewing.
Let me just before we start. So this means if we get tariff names, that means we're pretty much caught up.
We are, yeah. But we still got 6 pages, so people
Wow.
are just joining.
Yeah, yeah. It's great though to be caught up to the present
Can
time.
you make a name if you've joined for free?
I don't know.
No, you shouldn't be able to.
No, but these are just paid members.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, only paid members can make
Only
names.
paid members get their names. Make no mistake when. Oh, sorry, Louis Galapa. Then we got gay, so I come see men in a different way. Why are the best con jam players German? Chris Rodriguez, Nicholas Dodo. Big Mike should commit seppuku for pulling out their sword in the sacred temple, aka the White House bathroom.
It's very funny. Drexler.
Adam Mashkata. Then we got Impractical Jokers HR rep.
Wei Song
Anyone
Xian.
can't do that.
But it's so good though.
I know, but
It's a walked in one.
yeah.
God, it's so good.
Then we got unloaded my glue gun in my mouth. Call me Kurt Cobain.
Put them on the list. Put them on the list. Contender, catapult.
Yeah.
Yeah, put them on the list.
I mean, unload your glue gun in your mouth. It's a 10.
It is a contender. This is probably the best list we've ever had.
Yes. Timothy Young, Ricardo Gomez Tejero. Then we got Dix Zillow, Jordan Groening. Then we got Pro Life, aka Preggers Can't Be Choosers.
Put them on the list.
Yep.
Holy shit.
Preggers
This
kid.
is not, this is too many goods. This is too good. We should stop. It's not fair.
Well, let's just get through one more
Yeah.
page. Then we got Trans Toot Cutie asked me to glue on her flat chest, but I prefer crease pie. Okay.
Okay.
Paulo Ripper, Peter.
Wei Song Xian. Ladder 14.
Yeah.
Wei Song Xian.
Yeah, it's just what it is.
They're getting pretty inventive now. Yeah,
Hey.
we can't do that one.
Yeah. Then we got
Very funny. Obviously, you could see that. Oh, God, I'm crying.
Then we got Dom took roofies and woke up with glue on his poopy. Funny. Took roofies, got banged in the butt. Then we got Raising Big Daddy's Canes. Matt McCucks her and Shane Fallis. Marco Gutierrez, John Paul. Then we got Nancy Fumosi's Frisbee stockbroker. Post-op Malone, which we've had.
Right.
Hey, cuz, can I scan a 1940s Frisbee with my Yuka app?
It's a walked in
Walked in one.
Yeah.
Okay. Then we got the of the week. Wait,
Well,
son,
yeah,
walked in one.
one.
Sorry
Yeah,
about
walked
that.
into
Yep,
one,
there was.
yes.
I started saying I
Yeah,
couldn't
it
stop.
just is not what you can't read. You see when you read.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
In the brain, out the mouth.
Yeah.
So then we got $3 Bill Nye, the day one science gay. Twink for the table, save my wishbone for the kids. It's what it is. Alex. Then we got Spooky like Yannis, Witch Hazel Stink Star. Michael Sheehan. Chris Tingle, I like to jingle. Akash Singh street toilet.
Ladder 14.
Drexler.
Yeah.
Yeah, so good. I mean, it's just anyone. It's unfair to anyone now.
Yeah.
I think we need to stop
Matt,
soon.
we'll get
Yeah,
to this.
get to the
Matt
bottom.
W. Then we got Jose Menendez, Tucker Cockinson, the Resurrection, 3 words. Okay. Wei Sean Connery, Haggis Monkey. Nice.
Haggis Monkey.
Barry McConaughey.
Haggis Monkey would be a British kid, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Scottish Haggis, yeah. Then we got Sorry Cuz I Had to Pirate the Special. It's just what it is. Well, thank
What
you.
it is, yeah.
John Black. Zach Isis Finger blasted me with the detonation codes.
Okay.
Sergio's Booger Sugar.
That's really good. Chicken finger.
Yep. Tom Hodgets. Ladder 14 creams in daydreams of fuzzy muzzy reams. Okay. Andres Blumkin. Epstein babysitting service.
I mean, put him on the list.
Okay.
I mean, this is bad.
That's what it is.
This is too much.
Yep.
This is the best. I'm telling you right now, this is the best list we've ever had.
Bronco Church.
Ever.
Then we got Giannis Looney Uni, High Life 93, Tyler Hulston, Awala Weed, Kevin Tikach. My Paralysis Demon is South Macedonian Yanni. Ashley Elizis, Lucas Weiss, Shemaiah Brown, Nipple Winker. Cash Patel wipes his ass with his hands.
Wei Song
The
Xian.
walked in a one.
Hey, Coolio Hyena. Farting in the shower makes those fumes wet and sour.
Drexler. Jesus.
They
So
call
good.
me. They call me Santa Claus because I come all over my beard.
It makes his beard white.
Yeah, it's what it
It's
is.
really inventive. Drexler. I'm sorry to you guys. It's just you're in the wrong list.
Yeah. Then we got Tariff, Trump, Tuck and Sack back at Studio 51, Mr. Bussy. Pops getting second while Chrissy plays Hummus Cannon. JP, Brian Alvarez, Colt Palmer, German Sri Lankan laser beam docking Akash Singh. Melted 6. Ping Ping put PP in me, but no one care if no tear IF. Voted for Donnie T, aka the new Führer.
You just got walked in a one. Yeah, you just walked
Okay,
in a
sorry,
one. Yeah.
I can't hear it when I'm reading. I'm
yeah,
like in
no,
a
I
different
know how
zone.
it is. I know how it is. Jesus Christ, they're getting you bad.
Ezra Frisbee Stein, war crime attorney.
Ladder 14.
Yeah, I mean they're really going hard.
Liam, and then we should be allowed to in Paris.
They got you again. Yeah, they got you again.
You read it? Okay,
Yeah.
so do you want to stop here
Let's
then?
stop. It's
okay,
too
so,
good of a list.
So it's a short
Yeah.
list today, but we're just going to have to, for time, we're going to have to we got a lot of contenders
It's
here.
just not fair to people at this point.
Okay, so let me read them out. Williamsburg Ultimate Frisbee Champion Kanye West.
We're gonna Drexler that.
Drexler that.
Any
okay.
other day.
Unemployed crisis actor.
That's so good.
So
Keep
they're
it
still
for
in.
now.
Okay. On Japan, we dropped the bomb. Now we got on Japan, we dropped the bombie. Now we got Otani.
Got to keep it.
Keep
but
it in.
If people read that on History Hyenas is back, do we look like a really horrible people?
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
So we're gonna have-
we're gonna
keep it for us, but we just know it can't win on the list.
That's right.
Okay. Joe Rogan step stool.
We got to get rid of that because
Yeah, that could
we just got to get rid of that, even though it's a goodie.
Okay. Winnie the Jew stuck in Honey Hamas tunnels. Do we have the same Otani problem?
We have the same problem there.
So-
But keep it for now.
We're keeping it for now, but just know you're not going to win.
It can't. I don't know if
We
you
just
can.
can't put your name up there in lights.
You just can't put. I don't know if you can be in lights. That's
So
the
what
thing.
we could actually do though is if one of these two do come down to being the winner, we won't put them on historyhienasisback.com. We'll put them up on Patreon.
Right.
So because
Also,
we can't put them in lights for free.
Right, exactly. And by the way, we did the poll, and remember we did that one episode where we said we were going to let the voters
fans
decide. So we have to put up the winner from that.
Put up the winner from
Yeah.
that. Tony, if you're listening, put up the winner.
Yeah,
Ivory Coast already has enough tariffs. Stop Trump.
we're gonna Drexler that one.
Drexler that. Okay,
Yeah.
good try.
Yeah.
Then we got unloaded my glue gun in my mouth. Call me Kurt Cocaine. Cogain.
Yeah,
Like Cobain, but they spell the Gayn.
that's another. I mean, what do we do with that? Because
I feel like that's more okay.
yeah. So keep it around.
Keep it around. Okay, and then we got pro-life, aka preggers can't be choosers.
We're gonna keep that.
Okay,
That's probably gonna win.
and then we got Epstein babysitting service, which I like, but I thought we've had.
I don't
something
know. Have
similar.
we had? Yeah, we might have. I don't know.
That's the only thing, but it is goody.
Keep it around.
Okay.
These are all
So
contenders.
here's the contenders.
Where's Peter?
No. Yeah, no,
put that up
yeah,
there.
that was walked into one. Yeah,
So-
Jesse just doubled it.
Yeah. So we got unemployed crisis actor. On Japan, we dropped the Bami. Now we got Otani.
Okay, so let's get rid of on the bond. We dropped Otami.
Okay, and then we're also going to have to get rid of Winnie the Jew stuck in Honey Hamas tunnels.
Yeah, we're gonna get rid of.
Now, really, we got unemployed crisis actor,
Yeah.
and we also have unloaded my glue gun in my mouth. Call me Kurt Cobain.
Let's Drexler that one just because we don't want to do suicide either.
So unemployed crisis actor, pro-life, aka preggers can't be choosers. It's really between unemployed crisis actor and pro-life, aka preggers can't be choosers.
That's right. I'm gonna go. We haven't had a good chicken finger victory, so my vote is for unemployed crisis actor.
Okay, so unemployed crisis actor, you are the PPW up in lights. You can see your name at historyhyenasisback.com. However, at patreon.com/historyhyenas, you will be able to see Winnie the Jew stuck in Honey Hamas tunnels. On Japan, we dropped the Bami. Now we got Otani, Peter, and Epstein babysitting service. So Tony, if you listen, put those up on the Patreon.
Some she ain't.
All right, and come see us, ChristyComedy.com for all my stand-up dates, YannisPappasComedy.com for all stand-up dates, or both of our dates up at historyhyenasisback.com. Yanni, go see him in Cleveland, and you can come see me in Albany and New Haven, Connecticut at the end of April.